Hey, Joe. Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, you're on mute, Joe.
Okay, I'm live now.
All
Can you
right.
hear me?
Yes. Welcome, everybody. Apologize for the 5-minute delay. It does look like we've got some people on the call, so we will get started, right? What is a tech company without technical issues, especially when it's go-to meetings? So I'm sharing my
Okay.
screen here, and we will get going. We do have a lot to talk about today, but we also have plenty of time. So we are scheduled for um, we're scheduled for an hour, right? So 11 Eastern to noon Eastern. For best viewing and sound, we do recommend the GoToMeeting desktop app. So hopefully you guys are all on that. We are now. But thank you, Jason Thompson, Work 365, VP of Sales here at Work 365. Been with the company 2.5 years or so, based in Charleston, South Carolina. So we are on the East Coast mostly, but we do serve customers in 24 countries. So we work you're right around the globe. I'm really excited about this session because I started as a CPA out of college, right? And my first training, it was a 2-week away training that I went to, and the first thing I learned was bill the customer, right? Not a customer named Bill, but actually bill the customer. So really that end-to-end order to cash process, and kind of come full circle today because we're going to be talking about our Power version 3.0. So Work 365 PV version 3.0 that has been really geared towards finance professionals, right? So finance professionals, used to doing things in Excel, used to doing things their way, don't like to change much, even when they come over to Work 365. Sometimes they keep their Excel spreadsheets to make sure we're doing things right. Right, but we don't want them to do that anymore. We want them to take full advantage of the application. So we've got some cool things that we're going to show you today to help finance teams get comfortable with the data. So Joe, I'll kick it over to you for an introduction, and then we'll get going.
Sure. Hi, Joe Almonte. I'm in Rhode Island here in the Northeast U.S. I get the opportunity to speak with a lot of clients and prospective clients every week. So I'm really excited about a lot of the new things we're doing that we're going to show you today because they reflect a lot of the feedback we've gotten from clients. How can I help my finance team make things easier for them, help them to do better? How can I sell and align with my clients better? How can I help my license management team and billing team better? And you're going to see that these features directly impact these job roles as well as just being cool features. So excited to present these today.
Awesome, Joe. Joe, you can see my screen, right? The
Yes, I
Power
can.
version,
Yep.
everybody
Yep.
can see that, all right? It says
Yep.
you can,
Excellent.
but just want to make sure. All right, so for those of you that are maybe new to Work 365, just real quickly, right? Work 365, an application that's built on Power Platform, right? As you probably know, Power Platform, it's scalable, it's extendable, it's customizable. It's a wonderful place for an application to sit, right? Because it can tie into those other applications that you use in your business to create that end-to-end order to cash process that I referred to earlier, right? So for firms really looking to grow their revenue, have a tight operations process, and then have that strategic alignment between Microsoft and their customers, we kind of plug that gap. The agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about, what's driving the change, kind of the current state of Microsoft and the business, right, as we flip into the fiscal year 2026. Talk a little bit about some challenges, which you all are well aware of, I'm sure. That's why you're here. And then I'll kick it over to Joe, and he'll walk you through some of the new things that are in the Power version 3.0 PV 3.0, talk a little bit about the impact, and then we'll have some Q&A, next steps if you want to further communicate with us or want additional information. All right, so our CEO, Ismail Nawala, was at the BizApps Summit, right, in Washington, maybe a couple weeks ago. Came out of that really jazzed, right, because a lot of talk was about, a Microsoft Frontier partner, and these Frontier partners being customer zero, meaning that they are going to leverage Microsoft applications in their own firms so that they can create the framework to implement AI agents, Copilot, that type of stuff, so that they then can better support their customers, right? Of course, if you use it, you can support it, service it, sell it a lot better. So part of that AI readiness, that Copilot agent, right? Of course, the buzz, right? We got to do more with that. But in order to do that, how you've got to give somewhere, right? Everybody's busy. So one way to do that, of course, is with Work 365. Let's automate as much of the compliance, as much as that manual admin work as you can. Let's get your data ready, right? Get your data right, get your data in place, get your product catalog so that it's clean and it supports your selling, your margins, all of that stuff, so that you then can focus on some of these new topics like agents and AI and how you're going to grow that business, right? It's probably a lot easier right now to sell E5s or Dynamics licenses than it is to sell, some of this newer stuff that we've got to get our hands around. So really, that's our goal, to help you, to align you with your business goals, so that we can all grow together and make Microsoft happy. Their earnings release was pretty good, though. I think they're doing all right. So some challenges, right? What goes into what I just talked about, right? Just mental gymnastics, right? I think Joe likes to call it get you out of Excel jail, right? All of that pieces and parts that are disparate, that you've got to touch multiple times. We're really wanting to get you away from that, right? Our goal is to give you the ability to run your CSP business on your terms, right? So however you run your business, we want to align with that. And if you happen to line up with the way that Microsoft does their business, that would be great as well, right? That's really kind of the gold standard, I would say, right? If you're billing the way that Microsoft bills you, our system is just right? It really just kind of clips along so you can create that flywheel and just sell, 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 and let the application handle things for you. Reconciliation, we talked about finance, the importance of reconciliation, ticking and tying, right? We want to make that as comfortable to finance professionals as we can. So we'll get into that, right? We don't want people spending time, again, ticking and tying, making sure that price changes are accurate, that margins are accurate, they're managing the whole rather than the exception. And then disconnected people and processes, right? So maybe you're using ConnectWise and you're using, HubSpot. Well, how are you going to join those, right, with Partner Center? Maybe you're using CRM and you're using BC and you want to, be all under the Microsoft umbrella. How are you going to join Partner Center, with those applications, right? So, and then all of the people that support those applications, is sales asking for something and IT ops is asking for something and leadership is asking for something else? How do you get all of that data and to the individuals that are needing that data to run their business, right? That's what we want to do. We want to package that all up. We want to give you role-based access controls, and we want people to be able to self-service, as well as your customers self-service, again, to create that flywheel so you can kind of just keep humming, keep selling, keep supporting, and have happy customers. So that's really it for me, right? The sales guy. Now I'm going to kick it over to Joe to show you what the application looks like, right? A little bit more of the kind of how. You ready,
Terrific.
Joe?
Yeah, sure. Let's fire away. Thanks, Jason. All right, terrific. So we're going to jump into the some of the new capabilities, and the first one is this Flexi-Contract. So again, what this does is you're going to notice some little dials and switches that we have in here again, so that you can go to market and bill your customers on your terms, run your business on your terms. If you choose to line that up with how Microsoft is billing you to make the whole process easier, reconciliation, billing, the whole bit, we have the capability to do that. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's a first look at this Flexi contract, and you'll actually notice it's a new type of contract, Flexi contract. Next slide, please. One of the first capabilities you'll notice is that you now have the ability to bill at various multiples of weeks, months, or years. So most common, obviously, is once a month, right? Once every month. But we've had requests from customers to bill every 6 months, for example. And it might be because they have some of their own services, their own SKUs, or other third-party products that they sell on a different period. This gives you the flexibility to choose how you're billing your customers, how you want to run your business. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to real quick, right? We're talking about Microsoft CSP, right? Licenses, Azure, that type of stuff. But our customers, right? Anything recurring revenue can
Mhm.
flow through this system, right? So maybe it's Citrix, maybe it's Adobe, maybe it's services, maybe it's even hardware, right? So kind of one time, maybe you've got a service contract for 4 months, right? All of that can be managed now with these new terms.
Fantastic. Yep. And now this is a subtle little feature, but and it's very powerful actually, which is this billing offset. So what this is saying is, so let's say I've set up my billing period for the first of the month to the 30th of the month. Great. Now you can also choose when am I going to generate that invoice. So there's really two use cases that come into play here that are pretty important. One is we still need to, even though we're syncing every day with Partner Center for changes to subscriptions so that we can do prorations on regular subscriptions. For Azure usage, we have to wait till that final daily rated file comes out. That might be the 6th or the 8th or even the 10th of the month, right? So we have some clients who have split the billing. Say, I'm going to bill early in the first of the month for my NCE, but I got to wait till the 12th or the 15th to bill my Azure. That's fine. But now what you could do is you could say, okay, my billing period's the 1st to the 30th. I'm going to focus on the activity that took place during that period of time, but I'm not going to generate the invoice until the 12th or the 15th so that I can include my Azure on the same invoice as my CSP licenses. So it still respect the time period of 1st to 30th for any additions, changes, etc. But now we've also delayed that enough times that we pick up the Azure billing. The second really big use case is you can actually bill in advance of your annual recurring billing. So annual paid in advance. And we've all seen this. Microsoft is clearly steering the ship towards annual prepaid subscriptions. They're making it financially painful to not do it and an incentive to do it. But my customer said, well, I've only got that 7-day window to make changes to an annual. And my customers, I could send them all the quotes I want, but they really don't pay attention until they get that invoice. And so we said, okay, you can also send this invoice out 10 days early, 15 days early, 30 days early before that annual renewal. And in this way, the customer's got enough time to maybe, if there's any changes that have to take place, you've got enough time before that 7-day window. Also helps with your cash flow. Those annual prepaid, that's going to be a big bill from Microsoft. The sooner you can get paid from your clients as well, the better. And that's where this particular feature can really come in handy.
Yeah,
Next slide.
Joe. I mean, you touched on renewals, right? But with NCE and renewals and sometimes usage-based reconciliation, like you're sending the renewal out after the renewal date, right?
Right.
So really, if you can pull that up, right, get the renewal where it needs to be, before the first of the renewal date, that really reduces a lot of risk related to errors and mistakes and being left holding the bag.
Certainly. Big time.
Okay, cool. Um,
Okay, so now you see all these little switches and settings on these contracts. You say, it looks, it might be a lot. Well, what you can do is we have templates. This was a big request from clients, big feedback back from clients. Can I have templates? Because I tend to bill in only one or two or three different categories. I have a monthly CSP clients, I bill them all the same way. So you can have several templates in here. So when you're setting up a new customer, you're assured to have your standard settings will be set in the contract. You can still tweak them or change them if you need to, but this makes it much easier for onboarding. Next slide,
Excellent.
please.
All right, yeah, so that really concludes the Flexi contract, that new concept. Really, again, giving you the ability to run your business the way you want to run the business, as well as lining up with, the Microsoft invoice, giving you the flexibility to do things the way you want to do it. So now we're going to get into invoicing and how invoices are being generated.
Terrific. Yep. So now you've set up your customer, you sold to the customer, you set them up. Now it's time to generate some invoicing. So we have automated invoicing, the system, which is terrific. You also can manually generate an invoice. Maybe it's for a new customer, or you want to do a mid-period um, invoice, or the other thing that I use this for actually frequently is just to preview an invoice. So you'll notice here the ability within an individual billing contract to say generate invoice. And now these screens really present it in the same manner and presentation form as the actual invoice, much easier to use. You'll notice a couple of the dials that we have up here. You can select whether it's going to be a full cycle or mid-cycle invoice. You can select the billing period of which you want to look at. You could go out a couple of periods if you wish, or use this current period. Um, and also you can include schedule changes. Do I have a price change that would impact this? Is there a change in the quantity, maybe reduction on the renewal date, something like this? These can now be reflected in the presentation of this invoice. You'll also notice in here a couple of subtle things. So you'll see these line items. We've got full cycle items in here. You'll also notice we've got a proration, licenses added at a certain point in time, and it then calculates it based on it. So it was very interesting. This is a feature we've had for a long time to present this description much easier than that, kind of cryptic three-line math problem that Microsoft gives you in the reconciliation file, right? When you present it in this manner, the customers know, oh yeah, I added a certain amount on this date, it's this much a month, and then it does the calculation. We kind of took it for granted, but we did a case study with one of our clients after they'd been using Work 365 for about a year. And they said this reduced their billing complaints or billing questions by about 80%. So just having that clarity in there, very helpful, makes your clients happier, reduces burden on you, and again, a great automation we've had for quite a while, but I kind of took it for granted. So again, sometimes I'll use this particular function to preview invoices, might not even generate it, but also, of course, you could press the button and generate an invoice as well.
Yeah,
Terrific.
thanks, Joe. Another helpful tool for finance teams, right? Like I mentioned, I started as an accountant and I started as an auditor, right? So I learned that the file has to stand on its own, right? You've got to tick and tie things all the way up the trail, right? So, if you got the subscription, right? That's going to tie to the Microsoft invoice. Then you got your cost price, right? You've got your quantities. That all is going to roll up to an invoice that you then can check to ensure that you are, not losing money really, but making what you're supposed to be making. And then you can send the invoice out, right? So just giving people the comfort so they can see how it builds up prior to sending out the invoices. They know things are accurate.
I'll also mention, Jason, a lot of our clients will do like a top 5 or top 10 review, right? So every month they'll look closely at the actual invoices of their top 5 clients or top 10 clients and do a real eyes on type of look. This actually gives you the ability to do it even before the invoice is generated. You could do a preview of your top 5 even before the period and get a head start on that process of just checking your invoices.
Yeah, which helps with time, right? Which we said,
Exactly,
accountants, finance teams don't have any time, especially at that time when they got to close the books and send out invoices.
for sure.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
and another related function here is the ability to generate bulk invoices. So maybe you selected your top five or certain invoices, certain categories, and you want to do it in bulk. This screen now has the ability to make selections on each of the individual ones, not just bulk blindly generating all of them. You actually have some toggles here. If you go to the next slide, I believe, Jason, I think we've got some more action on some of the toggles here. So again, for each individual one, you could pick which billing period that you're looking at, and then you'll notice over to the right there, we kind of took these for granted as well. Auto sync, auto send, and auto charge. These are settings within the billing contract whereby you can automatically sync to your accounting system when it's generated. You could automatically send it to the client from Work 365 if you wish. We've got invoice templates, email templates that are built in. And then also charge. We're integrated to several payment processors. So potentially you can have a setting that syncs to your accounting system automatically, sends it to the client, and also auto charges it as well using one of those payment processors. So we've had those capabilities for a bit, but now they're presented individually as toggles when you're generating a bulk invoice.
Excellent.
Cool. And again, also you have the ability to even fine tune it more to say bill through a certain date. So it might be that your billing changes up to a certain date, and you want to have that calculated here as well. So again, you've got a real ability to fine tune this and deliver what is needed.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, so that's really the invoice modifications, right? Some cool things that have just come out about invoices. Again, the goal is to make everybody's life a little bit simpler. We're now going to get into reconciliation, right? So this is a pretty big deal, especially for finance teams, as I mentioned. We want to make things easier on everyone. We want to give people the comfort that they need, right? We've got another client customer that we were working with, and what their CFO said is I don't know whether I should pay my Microsoft invoice every month because I have no idea what it even means, right? And firms that we talk to are pretty good at managing the cost aspect of their Microsoft business, right? Meaning, like, if Microsoft invoice says, we owe Microsoft $100,000, we can pretty much see that we bought $100,000. But the rub is that firms don't really manage the sales aspect of that relationship, right? So cost is fine, but what about the sales price, right? What if cost increased like it did on April 1st, right? Did you adjust your sales price accordingly, right? Do you have visibility into your margins? Do you have visibility into your sales cost, right? So that's really what we're helping firms get through this reconciliation process. And although it's geared towards finance teams and such, the goal really is that you could have a low level person or someone else do this reconciliation, right? And then, someone else could review it or talk through it, right? So, in accounting teams, they're always looking to offload work, shift left, whatever you want to call it, right? So if we can shift this to maybe a lower level resource, that's going to free up time for others to do more valuable tasks. So I'm going to hand it off to uh, to Joe real quick.
Cool. We'll jump in here.
Yeah, jump
Uh,
in real.
awesome. Fantastic. So, all right. So this revenue report, and we've this is really a big request from finance teams, and I'll say probably 8 or 9 out of 10 um, of the new folks we talk to, prospective users of Work 365, probably at least 8 or even 9 out of 10 are doing what we call reconciliation billing. They're getting the recon file from their provider, Microsoft or distributor. Then they're doing some type of application to it to apply their margin or discounts to customers. And then they've got to get it into an accounting system or a billing system to get the invoices out to clients. And it was interesting because they have a level of comfort that, well, I think I covered everything in this bill to me with what I've sent to my clients, but you've still got a couple of handoffs here, right, with spreadsheets and manual ingest. And it's very typical that we find 1 to 3 or even up to 5% of just general errors that occur in all of that motion, right? I missed a price change. Some reason there's something I underbilled. I didn't bill this subscription for, we've seen it in some cases years, didn't bill a subscription. So it's just the potential is there with all those handoffs on top of just the general burden of having to do it. So this report helps to tie in the billing motion that we were just looking at with now your bill coming in from your provider. So let's have a look at this here. So you'll notice here that what we're the system will automatically pull in provider invoices from Partner Center from Microsoft, automatically present them, and then you will select which one I want to reconcile to. Next slide, please. Here's where you're saying, okay, which provider invoice am I going to reconcile to? Which date billing periods am I going to compare it to? Next slide. Okay, and here's the basic report. As Jason mentioned earlier, folks were very good at making sure cost was covered the cost, I've billed for this thing, but they really didn't have a great handle on the revenue side compared to that cost and the margin, the resulting margin. We were just talking recently to a firm, $75 million Microsoft business. Okay, pretty substantial. They had a really substantial and strong Dynamics licensing business. And the question was, I really don't have a good handle. I don't know what my margins are in that business. I really don't have a great handle on that. I don't feel like I have a great handle. I know it's a strong business, it's active. I don't know what the margins are. We were able in just a couple of minutes to construct a report, filter it for dynamics, and present them with a report on margins in just literally just a couple of minutes. This report you're looking at here, you'll see here it's set up per customer. I'm now reconciling per customer what was the revenue and cost associated, then the resulting margin. Next slide, please. Furthermore, I can pivot it down to see each line item. What was my margin on each individual subscription? The revenue, cost, and margin on each individual subscription. Now you really got a handle on the business. Fantastic.
Next one.
Next one. Now to go one step further, I'm now drilling into one individual line item and looking at the corresponding revenue lines in Work 365. So now I'm going even a step further to look at these margins. You'll also notice in the upper right there, I've got an export. So for a finance team, very adept at spreadsheets and doing further analysis, further manipulation with this. This is where you could export it and then filter for dynamics to see what you're making on individual products. The other thing is you could also filter to say, you could do it by exception. And we think this is what eventually, from feedback from our clients, after they've been using the system for a period of time, they end up reconciling by exception. What does that mean? I could filter to say, show me everything below 10% margin. Okay, now instead of a 2,000 line report, I'm down to a 200 line report. Now I can really start to dial in and say, did we miss a price change or did we discount a lot? Was this intentional or unintentional? But now your reconciliation process is a more thoughtful command and control type of process because frankly, the rest of it is so easy. We've already accommodated each line of the Microsoft recon file. So now you can very easy to do further analysis based on this data that's in here.
Yeah, this is super cool, right? So, I mean, I'm
Really.
still an accountant, right? And stuff like this saves me time, right? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I like to think of software kind of like the experiences I've had with other areas in my life, right? If you remember the 90s, every ski was straight, right? And then they came up with the shape skis, and then they came up with the fat shape skis, and then the fat shape skis with rocker, right? If you like to ride bikes, they had 26-inch tires. Now they have 29-inch tires, right? As we release this reconciliation workflow and tool to our customers, they're going to say, how about this? What about this? What about this? You can see on the screen, there's a little bit of logic there, which tells you, wow, I'm way out of whack. I'm selling something at negative margins, right? I'm paying them to take it. but as things go off, this is going to be a powerful area of the application that's really going to help people tune in and really manage their business at the macro and the micro levels. For a salesperson, right, it's going to allow you to see what all your licenses are, where they are, so that you can sell to the white space, right? These clients have this, these clients don't. Maybe they know each other, and I can help, get this product into these clients, or maybe there's Microsoft has given me incentives, co-ops on this types of products. Well, who has those products? Can I sell them more? Right? Who doesn't? Can I focus in on there? So, right, this is the data. This is the heart of the business, and this is really cool. So, thanks, Joe. And next, we're going to get into Product Explorer, which kind of feeds this report. So it's more of the operations place of managing this data.
Excellent. Great. So for the Product Explorer, you notice a modernized look here, great ability to filter what you're looking at. So what you're looking at is every night we update the product price and cost, the selling price and cost price from Microsoft in those markets that you're selling into and for those products that you're tracking. So you don't want a lot of noise with all 40,000 SKUs coming in here. It'll start with, here's the ones that you've pulled into, you're currently selling, the ones you've pulled into your product catalog. And we also have reports that would show recent price changes. Again, we're picking these up every night. So your sellers now have an accurate pricing at the time of sale. We're alerting you to price changes, which again might lead to other things, existing customers as well as new customers. And right from here, you could provision new subscriptions. When you do that from here, you also can decide to co-terminate these with other subscriptions or co-terminate at the end of the month. The function will check for promos and see if there's available promos both for the product as well as the customer. Does this product have a promo running, and does it apply to this customer? And then the final thing is you can just provision right from that in that motion, apply any discounts or billing terms that you wish right at that time. So very powerful. It looks kind of like a list here, but it's really driven by what you're selling, what you're focusing on, us updating the pricing, and then the ability to execute on that to create new subscriptions very quickly and easily. You'll end up spending a lot of time in here. Your licensing folks will spend time in here. Great place to add new products to your catalog as well as manage the ones that you have currently.
Excellent. Next,
Cool.
we're going to talk about promotions, Joe. Drill into that a little bit.
Promo Explorer. So this is what you would use really before you're selling to a client to check to see if there's any promos. I talk to partners all the time. A lot of them just don't deal with promos at all because it's too hard to manage. It's hard to figure them out. Also difficult to remember to take away the promo at the end. We actually have some automations around that. If you go to the next slide. So in this case, we looked up Copilot to see if there's available promos. There were, and then we're checking both for the details of the promo, what it is, the discounts, etc. And then next slide. Also the constraints. What are the minimums and max for this particular promo, for example? So before you're selling, as you're selling to clients, you can determine what promos are available and how it applies. When you're actually provisioning it in that Product Explorer, you can also set times for when to, first of all, you don't have to send the promo all the way through the client. You can keep it for yourself as margin, or you can determine that after 6 months, when this thing ends, I'm going to then reduce the discount. But again, great automation, helpful to sellers.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. And I mean, if we were having a conversation, right, two-way conversation, I would ask you, how are you currently handling promotions, right? Which,
Yep.
most firms say sticky notes, Outlook, right? Because it's one thing to sell a promotion, it's another thing to remember to deactivate the promotion, right? So if you give someone a discount, what happens at the end of the term? You got to remember to, change that, right? Or else you're going to have margin erosion, leakage. We've got, that a concept called an effective change date, right? So right when you sell the promotion, you can go there and you can put in a change to basically, go back to the standard price, in 6 months, a year, maybe 4 months, whatever it is. And, promotions is kind of a big thing out there. We've got a customer that, just charged their way up into the Inc. 5000, top 100, 2 years in a row, selling on promotions. I mean, they built a crazy Microsoft business, right? Actively going after customers using promotions. So that's kind of how this got built into the tool, and it is pretty cool. So next, we're going to talk about linked subscriptions, Joe.
Yeah, for sure. So this particular use case is, and it probably comes up more frequently than you might even be aware. It tends to apply to larger customers where um, they have one subscription with Microsoft, but then behind the scenes, let's say they have 100 E3 licenses or something, E3 seats. Behind the scenes, they're allocating that cost among different business units. And what this does is give you the ability to have that one provisioning, that parent subscription, and then you can allocate it down between different business units. So there's 100 seats, but 30 go to Boston, 40 with Chicago, or so on. That also can be presented on the customer portal, whereby when they come in, they can add a seat to the Boston one, add a seat to the Chicago one. We'll keep track of that. We can bill it that way as well, have those as line items on an invoice, separate line items so that the customer doesn't have to do it themselves. Again, another way to be more in sync with your client, have it automated so it's not a pain for you and not difficult for them, make you a little stickier with your client.
Yeah. All right, cool. Next, we've got self-service portal. The new self-service portals also coming out, version with the version PV 3.0. So we got a couple things to talk about there, and then we'll wrap it up and take some questions.
Cool. So a couple of new capabilities, and this again based on customer request, is the ability to export invoice lines right from the portal. So customers before could download the invoice PDF or whatever, but sometimes they wanted to do their own manipulations of that and work with the lines. This gives you the ability to download, export invoice lines. Next slide. Okay, this is a really powerful feature that's new and it opens up a lot of possibilities. What this is an impersonation feature. So there's a security setting for internal users whereby your internal users could log into the customer portal impersonating the customer. There's really two use cases for that. One is they can see what the customer sees. So if there's a question from the customer as to what they're seeing on the portal or how to use the portal, you can go out and see what they're seeing. The second use case is we have some clients who say, I have people, the only thing they do is add seats to licenses. It's a customer service rep. They don't really need to be in the full Work 365. They could actually use this as their Work 365 console, come in, switch between different customers that they're seeing, add seats to licenses just as the customer might do if they were coming onto the portal. So two really cool ways to leverage this capability.
Excellent. All right, so as I mentioned, we're nearing the end. If you do have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we'll get to them here in a minute. So, what's the impact, right? We talked earlier about disparate systems, siloed departments, different technologies, different vendors, different customer needs, right? So really, when we talk to CSP businesses, teams, right, it just feels like they're buried in kind of like all of that admin, minutia. And really, you can look at the screen, you can see all those dots, which ones kind of relate to you. But the goal here at Work 365 is for us to come in and help you, align all of those pieces and parts into a framework that makes sense, right? Built on Power Platform, extendable, customizable, scalable, right? It's really the only application that you're going to need for really for a long time, right? So we really want to align, sales, the licensing team, IT, customer service, finance, all under the one umbrella, that we can then, get to the outcomes that we want, which is really helping you serve your customers and really sell them more services, licenses, etc. Right? So what is the impact? Well, the impact is operational efficiency, right? That's what we're going for as well, right? That's going to lead you to a strategic advantage, right? Meaning that you are going to be the best firm in town, and customers will want to come to you because they're going to have the best customer experience. And oh, yeah, you have a customer self-service portal. It's amazing how many people come to us and say, well, we probably should get a self-service portal because we're losing customers because we don't have one, right? Or we're not obtaining customers because we don't have one. So really, I just want to end there. I want to thank everybody for their time. You can always get a hold of Joe and I, Ismail, Abraham, anyone on the team that you may know. You can send in an email to sales@work365apps.com. Go to our website. You can schedule meetings there. Go to our documentation if you want to see, how the sausage is made, so to speak. There's a lot there to educate you if you'd like more information. And like I said, we'll open it up for questions. And Joe, I think the first one that came in had to do with um, the Flexi-Contracts, and are you able to kind of add different subscriptions to that contract?
Yeah, so actually one of the capabilities we didn't go into deeply was that on the Flexi contract, you actually now can mix annual and monthly subscriptions and still bill in the way that their provider bills you. So, for example, on one previously you would have to have an annual contract to bill something annually, monthly to bill monthly. You now can have an annual subscription on the same billing contract as all your monthly subscriptions, but set the annual to only bill annually. So what does this do? There might have been a little friction where the customer would get their monthly invoice and then they'd get another separate invoice for once a year for the annual subscriptions. Now you could have them come in on the month that they renew and have it included with the monthly billing contract. So that's an additional capability on the Flexi.
Excellent. Joe, we also had a question about what about customers that are on Dynamics version, the DV version of Work 365?
So it would be a migration to come over to the Power version. We have a couple of those in flight right now of folks that there were particular advantages and features that they wanted to take advantage of and move over to the Power version. So I would definitely encourage you to have a conversation with us directly so you understand how that works. It will be a services engagement for us to help you. We don't just throw it over the transom to you. We're going to give you the help and guidance that you need. So I would encourage you to have a conversation on that.
Yeah. And along with that, I want to say that the DV version is not going anywhere, right? And the DV version will continue to get built out, right? So there's some things in the DV version that aren't in the Power version, and vice versa. So that's why Joe said it really warrants a conversation.
Mhm. Yep. But the Power
What
version
else?
did give us the ability to a little more freedom to build out some certain things without the particular constraints of the Dynamics environment. So that's why there might be some things that are easier for us to build out in that environment. So again, good conversation.
Um, I don't see any more questions. Love to answer a couple more questions. If not, we can wrap up here in a couple minutes. Is there a way to open the phone lines, Joe? Or
I think if they ping in, maybe ping it into a question is probably the best way to get it going.
okay, all right. Well, again, thanks a lot, everyone. We're excited. We're excited about the future of Microsoft CSP billing, all of that. We will have a recording. We do have one more question, Joe. A lot of what we talked about is based around tier one relationship with Microsoft. How's it going to work with a distributor?
Yeah, so great question. So for distributors, uh, of the features we mentioned, the Flexi-Contract would still work with all those features would still work with distribution partners. We are directly integrated to several TD Synnex, Ingram, Pax8, and Crayon, where we have automated provisioning and syncing. The Promotion Explorer, right now we're starting to open that up to distributions that want to work with us. Right now, Ingram, we're working with them actively to open up the Promotion Explorer so that you could then leverage that functionality with Ingram. And then from a reconciliation standpoint, currently it's just Microsoft Direct recon files, but eventually we may open that up as well to pull in other reconciliation files. Again, Ingram right now may be working more directly with us, and there might be eventually down the road others that we could pull in as well.
Excellent. So we will have a recording and we will make it available. Okay, so this is a great question. Thanks, Russell. How does the recon work if you don't want to bill aligned with Microsoft dates?
Mm-hmm. So that particular file probably wouldn't be as effective in that case. It wouldn't really be a direct alignment. We still have the other another report that lines up with the subscription data. So in your subscription, you still have your selling price, your cost price, and in that case, we can still line that up with a reconciliation file just to make sure you've covered all of it. So it would be based on the data in the subscription, not so much on the invoice line comparison. So it'll be a little bit different. You can definitely reconcile in the sense that you're making sure each thing is covered, which is the most important aspect of it. You can see what your pricing is as well. It just wouldn't be quite as directly aligned from a timing perspective of what did I invoice. It would be more aligned with how am I set up with the subscription, and we've had that capability for a while.
Yep. So that warrants a conversation as well, right? So love to get in there and talk through that. Joe and I are very transparent, right? We're not going to tell you that we can do stuff that we can't, right? We're not going to tell you that Work 365 is a good fit for you if it's not, right? We want it to make sense for your business. So we got one more here. How does the location-wise billing work? Do we have one subscription on Partner Center and then have it divided based on locations? Would that be around link subscriptions or?
Yeah, I think it sounds like they're referring to the link subscription. So it really doesn't detect the location. It's more the business unit name. So in that case, it's a free-form field where you determine what you want to call it. It might be this sales business unit and the marketing department or something like this. It really, when I said Boston, Chicago, that was just more like a business unit statement. It's not detecting a particular location for the link subscription.
Anything else from anyone out there? All right. Well, thanks again. Send us an email. We'd love to get on the phone and have a conversation with y'all.
Good stuff, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joseph.
Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Nice job.
Thanks.